Hi everybody, and welcome to the video 4.6 about how to factor out the greatest common factor. I'm hoping that this is not a brand new word, but let's just unpack it in case it is. So another way to say the idea of greatest is big. So we want the biggest number to have in common, in common. So these should be the biggest number that goes into everything. Okay? So that's important. It has to go into everything. So step one, we're going to find the factors for each number. And we're talking about the coefficient numbers. So for example, this one, the factors of 24 are 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, or 4 and 6. When I look at the next number, 6, I get 1 and 6, or 2 and 3. The next step is that I want to pick out the biggest number. So I want to pick out find the largest or the biggest number in common. So for example, in this one, the biggest number in both of them is 6. That means I'm going to take a 6 out of all of them. So then I divide each term by that number. So if I think about it, 24 divided by 6 is 4. 6k divided by 6 would be 1k, and the reason why it's 1k is 6 divided by 6 is 1. So we're going to apply this idea again to the next problem that we see. So 28, I know 28 is 1 and 28, 2 and 14, or 4 and 7. 21 is 1 and 21, or 3 and 7. So the biggest number they all have in common is 7. So I'm going to take out 7. And you'll notice I left a little bit of room. I'm leaving a little bit of room because it has to do with these letters. So if I'm going to take out a letter, I take out the smallest exponent. Okay, so if I look at them, 3 and 2, 2 is the smallest, so I'm going to take out n squared. So now that I'm dividing, 28 divided by 7 is 4. And n cubed means I have n times n times n. And if I take out n squared, that means I take out 2 n's. I would be left with an n. 21 divided by 7, negative 21 divided by 7 is negative 3. N squared means 2 n's. If I take both of those out, I'm left. So this is what we're looking for. Our final answer should be an expression, but it's going to have most likely a parentheses in it. So let's go ahead and do some practice problems. When I think about the numbers that multiply to make 27 and 15, 27 and 15 are both made by the number 3. So if I take out a 3, 27 divided by 3 is 9, 15 divided by 3 is 5. The next thing I need to do is look at the x's. The smallest exponent is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. So that's my final answer there. The next one, 20 and 25. The numbers that 20 and 25 have in common are 5. And because the first part of this doesn't have a letter with it, I'm not going to actually factor anything out. 20 divided by 5 is 4. 25 divided by 5 is 5, and then I still have n cubed. The biggest number that goes into both 30 and 20 would be 10. This has 2 m's and 1 m, so 1 m is the most they have in common. 30 divided by 10 is 3. M squared means 2 m's divided by 1 m is still 1. 1 and 1 cancel out. So all I'm left with is the 2. Number 4 brings up a good point. I personally, and most mathematicians, would take the negative out. If the first number in the list is negative, that means I'm taking out a negative. 30 and 40 both also have 10 in common. So if I do negative 30 divided by negative 10, a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and I'm still going to have 4 m's because I didn't take any out. 40 divided by negative 10 is negative 4. Okay, next example, 60 and 6. 60 and 6 can both be divided by 6. X to the 7th means there's 7 x's. X to the 5th means that there are 5 x's. So if I have 5 x's in one, I can take a 5 out of each. 60 divided by 6 is 10. 7 minus 5 is 2. When I take everything out, I should only be left with 1. We're going to practice that again here in example 6. So if we look at example 6, I could take an 8 out of both 8 and 40. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 40 divided by 8 is 5. So as we get into examples 7 through 14, the same idea applies. All that's happening is now I have 3 terms to take into consideration. 72, 27, and 36 are all multiples of 9. So I could take a 9, and I'm going to take out a negative because that's what the first number in the list is. So because it's negative, I'm taking out the negative. And because this 36 doesn't have an m, it means I can't take an m out of any of it because you either have to take it out of everything or nothing. Negative 72 divided by negative 9 is 8. And because I didn't take out an m squared, everybody gets to keep their m. Positive 27 divided by 9 is negative 3. And 36 divided by negative 9 is negative 4. I'm going to repeat that process again here in number 8. I'm going to take out my negative. 16, 48, and 56 all have a 4 in common. And so then when I look at the B's, I see 6, 4, and 3. So that means everybody's got at least a 3. And I'm going to actually erase that so that we can all read it just a little bit better. So because everybody has at least a 3 means I'm going to try taking out 4b to the negative third. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, so negative 16 divided by negative 4 is 4. 6 minus 3 is 3. Negative 48 divided by negative 4 is positive 12. 4 minus 3 is 1. Negative 56 divided by negative 4 would be negative 14. Okay, and then b cubed, those b's would cancel. As I look at what happened here, hopefully you notice that every number left is still even, which means I can also take out a 2. So I'm going to say negative 4b cubed times 2, and then I'm going to factor out. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. And 14 divided by 2 is 7. So negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. I get negative 8b cubed times 2b cubed plus 6b minus 7. 36, 36, and 30. I know that 6 goes into all of those, so that's where I'm going to go ahead and start. Because I have a negative out front, I'm taking the negative with me. 36 divided by 6 is 6. Okay, and the reason why I didn't do anything with the v is that the 30 doesn't have a v, so I'm going to leave it alone. Negative 36 divided by negative 6 is positive 6v. And then 30 divided by negative 6 is negative 5. Let's do a few more, shall we? Example 10. 7, 14, and 49, I know I can take out a 7. Because they all have at least one a, I'm going to actually take out the a as well. So I can take out the a. So if I take out negative 7a, negative 7a divided by negative 7 is positive 1. 14 divided by negative 7 is negative 2. a squared divided by a is 1a because we're subtracting our exponents, and 2 minus 1 is 1. Negative 49 divided by negative 7 is 7a cubed divided by a is a squared because 3 minus 1 is 2. Few more, guys. As always, if you feel like you got it and you're ready to do your iExcel or the practice on the back of this worksheet, you can stop the video at any time. Negative 21, 56, and 56 all have a negative 7 in common. I can't take out a p because the last term doesn't have a p, so I have to leave the p in. Negative 21 divided by negative 7 is 3, and I'm going to have a p cubed. Negative 7 divided by negative 56 is 8, and then I have a p, and then I'm going to have a negative 8. The reason why they have different signs is they started with different signs up here. Number 12. 45, 25, and 50. I'm hoping you recognize that I could take out 50. So if I did that, negative 45 divided by 5 is 9. Negative 25 divided by 5 is negative 5. The b squared has to stay because the first term didn't have a b. Negative 50 divided by negative 5 is 10. Okay, so we have a few more examples. Number 13. What's happening here is that I now have 2 letters to work with. So we're going to boil this down to the same steps we have been doing. We're going to find the numbers that they all have in common. So 24, 21, and 18. I know this is 8 times 3, and 7 times 3, and 6 times 3. So I have a 3 in all of them, and I'm going to take out the negative. I have an x squared, an x squared, and an x squared, so it means I could take out an x squared. Negative 24 divided by negative 3 is 8. 4x's, divided by 2x's is 2. 21 divided by negative 3 is negative 7. My x to the 2's would cancel because 2 minus 2 is 0. And then I'd still have a y squared. 18x squared. 18 divided by negative 3 is negative 6. X squared and x squared cancel out. The next one, I can take out a 3 and an x because all of them are multiple of 3, and then I have an x. So if I have 2 x's and I take out 1 x, I still have an x. Y, but I didn't have a y I could take out of everything, so I'm going to take out that y, and I'm going to leave it where it was. Okay, negative 24 divided by 3 is negative 8. I took out the x, so those 1 x's cancel, I'm left with y. And in the last term, negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. I took out the x's, so I'm done. Okay, 2 more. 18, 24, and 8. I could take out a 6 out of all of them. So if I take out 6, I'd be left with 3. And then I notice this has y to the 5th, y, and y, so I'm going to take out that y. Y to the 5th minus 1y is 4 y's left. X to the 5th minus 4. I'm taking out the y, so all I have left is x. 18 divided by 6 is 3. Last example, 81, 72, and 63. 9 goes into all of them. So if I took a 9 out, and then I also notice that they all have an a cubed. So my common factor is 9a cubed. If I was to do 9 goes into 81 9 times, 7 a's minus 3 a's means I have 4 a's left. Negative 72 divided by 9 is negative 8. 3 a's, take away 3 a's means all the a's are gone, but I still have a b. 63 divided by 9 is 7.